Good morning, fellow warriors, and that's exactly what we are on this journey in life. We go to the doctor, we probably neglected ourselves, truth be told. All the way back, I can remember all the way back into the early 2000s that my body showed signs of fatigue. And I just kept going. I was working 70, 80, 90 hours a week. Also had side hustles that I permitted myself to get into, just feeling wore out and not going to the doctor. Didn't feel that I had the time to spare or the funds to do it, and definitely did not have the insurance to make that happen. So, those things in itself were the reason why I ignored shit. And it really bit me in the end because, I did in somewhere, around time I got diagnosed, then I felt really defeated. The guilt of all those years of just putting off going and seeing what was wrong. I blamed the doctors that in my hometown for missing it. Well, they didn't exactly miss it. They just didn't get a chance to diagnose it. And I'm just realizing that and coming to terms with it now. But, it took me a while. Anybody asked me why I wasn't moving back to my hometown, it was that, they neglected me. They didn't neglect me, I neglected myself. I just brushed it off that I'm doing so much that there's no reason, to go to the doctor. I'm fine. I don't want any pills, the common stuff that we do. But anyway, once we get that diagnosis, we have to face all of that, and we have to face it all head on. And it's not a physical fight, but it becomes a mental fight. It becomes one of frustration. And then, on top of that, you're learning about this. You're learning about everything that it affects, or what the stuff that you're had totally no control over, and then you put family on top of that, and then the family is trying to learn with you, and they ask questions and you don't know the answers yet, and you get so frustrated, and sometimes that frustration, it turns into alienation, because we snap. We don't mean to. The HE that we get sometimes, all the ammonias and stuff kick into our brain and can make us mean, and can make us, just do things that are totally out of character for us. Those are things that nobody has prepared us for if you haven't done your research, and if your caregivers or your family don't know that. Like I said in previous videos, that there were times where I had to set boundaries because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be able or have to alienate people in my life because of my attitude, or me getting frustrated, and that frustration turning into an anger towards them. So I had to set some boundaries for them, ask them to just minimally call. And as I learned and as I progressed, then I could answer questions. And some people still did not understand the for someone waiting for a donor, I would always get the question of, when is your surgery scheduled? And that was the hardest thing, because you're telling people that, you can't get a surgery until you get a donor. And people just look at you baffled. And they're like, well, can't you schedule that? Well, no, unfortunately, that's not the way this goes. And that was really frustrating. And it wasn't just once. These people would ask over and over again. And it's like that, it's just so out of the norm, what we're going through, that people, even though they're well-meaning, they don't understand. And so there again, that goes to the tension that we can alienate people because they don't understand that. So give yourself grace when you're doing and dealing with people, because you barely know what's going on, but you got to keep that fight up, people. You got to be that warrior for yourself. Advocate for yourself. Get everything done that your doctors need you to do, whether you feel like it or not. Get it done. People, we have to, in order for ourselves to survive in this fight for our life, we have to get those things done and get them done as quick we can. Our bodies are, like I said, they're betraying us in those times. And, you've got to do everything you can to put your body back in the right direction. So anyway, I'm not preaching it. I'm just telling you, you're not alone, brother. Get out there and get it done, and enjoy your life. Once you get that second chance, enjoy it. Whether you are a transplant patient, advocate, caregiver, I bless you all. God blesses you all. This is a tough road, and we really need to stay the course on it. See you next time.